2017 was an amazing year for gaming, not only for big companies, but for more importantly, the continuously growing indie developer market. With releases like Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight, and A Hat in Time, it's safe to say that Kickstarter isn't a total scam as games like Mighty No. 9 would make you believe. And so in late 2017, I decided to do my own digging into the site to see what games I could come across. And to my surprise, I came across an assortment of amazing games. From Jack and Casey to Blue Omen to Relic Hunter's Legend, and even to Indie Pogo, just to name a few. But as we now embark into the new year, I decided upon myself to share with you guys some games that are either worth your extra cash to fund, or games that you may not want to waste your money on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Back or Pass. Today's edition, we'll be taking a look at the demo of the Onus Helm. Allow me to start off by stating that this and all games shown in this series cover demos of these Kickstarter campaigns and in no way will reflect how the final game will turn out. Some aspects I may bring up will more than likely be changed the further the game is developed, so please keep that in mind. The Onus Helm, being developed by BcubedLabs, is a dungeon crawler roguelike where you assume the role of an unnamed protagonist who dons the Onus Helm. The game plays from a top-down perspective where you move from room to room, taking on an assortment of enemies much like The Binding of Isaac. This game, however, is designed in a very old-school 8-bit art style, which I personally really liked seeing. The game starts off in an empty room with only a level 1 sword equipped in your inventory, to which I assume means that in the final game, you'll be able to upgrade to an assortment of more powerful melee weapons. As for this demo, you're just stuck with a level 1 sword. As you move from room to room, you'll more than likely find pots laying about or a chest if you're lucky, both of which will reward you with either hearts, bombs, a bow, or currency. Now with the currency, you'll eventually come across a shop or two in your dungeon, which you'll be able to buy the same materials you'd find in pots and chests. And hopefully in the full game, the items will be much more diverse, especially if you happen to have two shops on the same level. On a different note, it seemed kinda weird to me that in this demo the bow was priced pretty high at 100 currency. But at no point was I ever able to get anywhere near that amount anytime I played through the game. But again, that probably won't be an issue when you play the full game as you'll get currency throughout multiple dungeon levels. Continuing on, going from room to room you'll encounter a multitude of different enemy types, ranging from easy to somewhat difficult to take on. Now something important I feel I need to bring up is that I had a hard time with this game. Certain enemies kicked my ass. And they kicked my ass almost every time I tried to fight them. I died multiple times. So if you're someone who doesn't really like having to start over and over and over again in a game, this might not be the game for you. For me, however, I really enjoy these types of games. Super Meat Boy, for example, is easily one of my favorite games of all time, and I die a whole lot every time I play it. I like games with an actual challenge that is at the fault of the person playing if they fail, rather than an inherent difficulty that's thrown at you by the game itself. Getting back on track with the Onus Helm, while there certainly are enemies that are difficult, on the flip side, dodging certain enemy attacks, including from the demo's boss battle, was a breeze with the implemented dash maneuver. Which, by the way, you'll more than likely be spamming a whole lot to move from one end of the dungeon to another, or, again, to dodge enemy projectile attacks. At a certain point in the dungeon, you'll come across the boss room. Now you can choose to fight it as soon as you come across it, or choose to finish exploring the level you're on. Maybe try stocking up on materials. Once you feel that you're well prepared and you've explored the rest of the dungeon, all that's left to do in order to progress is to defeat the boss. And the boss in this demo is actually pretty cool. It's all about timing with the boss, as you can't hit him consistently with a melee attack since he surrounds himself with a circle of swords that he ends up throwing at you. It's also really nice to see that the bosses will go through phases after reaching a specific level of health. The one bug I saw was him never going into a second phase during one of my attempts of beating him. His second phase has his swords thrown at you at an even faster rate, and him taking on almost a spirit-looking form. And who knows, that might have something to do with the story. It'd be pretty interesting if with every boss they have a helmet or some kind of headwear that you'll end up breaking in order to release them into the spirit kind of phase that will make them more intense with their attacks. But after many attempts, and after hitting the final blow, the boss is defeated, and the game takes you right back to the start menu. Again, it is a demo, although I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a second level. But this game doesn't discourage you from restarting over and over, as the levels are randomly generated each time you play, so you'll always have a different experience. Maybe one go around you'll have a bunch of health, maybe you'll be able to stock up on more bombs, or actually get a bow. The possibilities are endless. So what are my overall thoughts on this game? Well, I certainly had a lot of fun with it. To reiterate, I don't mind dying in games like this over and over because I know that when I finally do defeat the boss and get to the end, it'll be very gratifying. I really took a liking to the art style, and I hope that with more development that goes into the game, it's improved on even more, with even more amazing boss and enemy designs. One thing, however, I didn't really like about this game is that the NPCs, though very few, don't really serve any sort of purpose. You have a couple just standing about that'll read off a little sentence or two to you, and even this guy you encounter in a woods type area, he's just playing his flute. If the game ends up taking a more story structured route, which I hope it does to help explain what exactly the Onus Helm is, I hope that the NPCs are a bit more fleshed out. Maybe have one turn on you after some dialogue, or maybe bring one along as a body bag companion. You know, someone to take a hit or two for you. Towards the end of my playthrough with this demo, I also experienced a bit of frame drop to the point where the last boss battle I ended up doing felt kind of sluggish. However, not to the point of the game being completely unplayable. In the end, I believe this game is worth checking out for yourself. As always, see how much you enjoy or don't enjoy the demo. For me, I'm gonna give this game a back. I want to see how it progresses, see what more they add, how more enemies will be designed, and see if they do take a story route with this game or not. I highly suggest you guys at least try the demo for yourselves. And hey, if you do up enjoying the demo and happen to have some extra cash around, consider backing the game yourself. For $10 you get the full game on release, and for an additional $5 you can have your names featured in the credits. And hey, even if you didn't enjoy this game but you still want to help the developers out, you can also always choose to make a pledge without getting a reward, or even give the game code away to a friend if you like. As always though, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. If you're new here, you can also consider subscribing if you want to see more content from me. Right now you can check out my video on Sonic Forces and why I believe Classic Sonic ruined the game for me. But again, thank you guys as always for watching. Go check the Onus Helm out on Kickstarter. I'll leave a link down in the description below for you guys. And with that all being said, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care guys.